Hello. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. At least it's still morning here in the Midwest. So wherever you are tuning in, I am so grateful that you're here. If we haven't met, I am Kate. I am the owner and lead photographer of Clem Studios. We specialize in weddings, elopements, boudoir, and all things love stories. And if you've been tuning in so far this year, we are providing a lot of video content around planning your wedding. And that might seem a little bit strange since we're wedding photographers. We are not wedding planners. However, we have been in business for 10 years and have photographed over 150 weddings. So we've learned a thing or two along the way, and we want to share that wealth of knowledge that's inside our brains, even if it seems like that's something that a wedding photographer might not do. But today, this live actually has something to do with wedding photography. I know that there are tons of photographers out there. I'm not here to convince you to work with us. I simply just want to provide some thoughts on 9 questions to ask wedding photographers as you're going through your wedding planning process. Now, this might not be true for every wedding photographer. I'm sure that there are photographers out there that are going to ask, why would you have them ask that question? It's just my personal preference and the way that we work and the way that we've seen, kind of what's important to our clients. These are the 9 top questions that we have chosen. One thing that I would love to know, if you can drop in the comments, if you are tuning in, are you engaged in planning your wedding? If you're already married or in a different place in a relationship and just kind of tuning in for some ideas. That really gives me a really good parameter of who is tuning in and kind of how I should tailor the wedding information. I'm not going to spam you if you tell me that you're engaged or that kind of thing. I will leave it up to you if you want to reach out to us and ask us any questions. But I would love to know what everyone's relationship status is. So go ahead and drop in the comments if you don't mind. But to kick it off, like I said, 9 questions that I think that you should be asking each wedding photographer that you're chatting with. And this goes beyond just like sending a quick message on the knot. We're listed on the knot and we get so many, I don't know if it's like a canned thing that the knot populates for you, but just a quick message that says, hey, what are your packages and prices? And that is not going to tell you anything remotely about the type of experience that that photographer is going to offer you. And I genuinely think that that is so important because a monkey can sit there and hold a camera and click a button and take a picture, but is it going to be a picture that you love yourself in? You're able to feel the emotion of that image in, that you're going to then see that picture in a fast turnaround time in a certain edited style? Not necessarily. So to start it off, one of the first questions that I think you should ask any wedding photographer is, what is it like working with you and how will you enhance our wedding experience? It's a very, very different experience across the board between one photographer to another. Maybe they're a type of person that you meet with them, you sign the contract, and then they're there to support you on your wedding day. Maybe it's somebody who you sign a contract, they're going to be in touch, maybe once a month, a couple times a month, give you some tidbits and tricks, things you should be thinking about, and then kind of building that trust and that feeling that, oh, they're actually going to show up on my wedding day and that kind of thing. So what is it like working with you? How do you make our wedding day better? And see what they say with that. This is kind of an interview style sort of process, and you want to find somebody that feels really, really good to work with, that your gut is telling you, yeah, I can trust this person. And by the way, I also love their work and I love what they're producing. Your photographer is somebody that you're going to be around for a lot of the day. So you want to like them, you want to love what they're about and the experience that they're going to give you. So asking them that question is a great way to get an initial feel of, yeah, I think I want to continue talking to this person, or maybe it's not the right fit. Second question I would ask is an engagement session included? And I would ask that whether you're planning on doing an engagement session or not, simply so that you know the facts. I think that an engagement session is so helpful and so important in the wedding process if you choose to have one, because that allows us a chance to interact with one another. You can see how I am behind the camera, how I'm going to interact with you and guide you. And then you get to kind of relax in front of the camera a little bit. So then when your wedding day comes around, it's not the first time that you're stepping in front of our camera. There can be a ton of nerves on a wedding day. and adding to that, thinking about, I've never had professional photos taken before. Am I doing this right? I guess we're just going to wing it and find out right now. When you have an engagement session, you've got that experience in your back pocket. You know what to expect. Your photographer's probably given you some tips or tricks or prompts from your engagement session that you can remember on your wedding day, like pushing your back hip back, or maybe bringing your chin straight forward. I can even show you on the camera right now, like my neck looks like normal length here, but then when I bring my chin straight forward like this, there is absolutely no double chin here. And those are things that you might learn during the engagement session, just things like that. So asking if an engagement session is included, whether or not you're planning on having one, and if one is included and you don't need it, just seeing if you can take that out, what that process is, that sort of thing. Kind of following up to that is, if you've never been in front of the camera before, that's totally fine. Just letting the photographer know, we've never modeled before. What tips do you have for us? Or how do you make us feel comfortable? How are you going to ensure that we don't look awkward or nervous or anything like that in front of the camera? My response to that is, we do a lot of prompts rather than posing, because oftentimes when we just strictly pose somebody and say, okay, you're going to stand here, bring your arm around them, hold it, okay, just bring your hand down just a little bit. A lot of times our faces are going like, and we're not very comfortable. We're not trusting what we look like. We're not trusting the experience that photographer is providing us right now, because there isn't a ton of guidance there. That doesn't make us feel very confident and comfortable in how we're going to look in those photos. So for us, we do a lot of prompt-based work. So it's something like, Susie, I want you to whisper in Johnny's ear one embarrassing memory that you have of him, or something that might make him laugh. And then also you might laugh because your breath is like tickling his ear. And then I might say, Johnny, I want you to nuzzle the side of Susie's face. Go ahead and meow in her ear. And again, that'll make her laugh. Maybe it's something like, Johnny, I want you to take Susie's face, look her in the eyes for 3 seconds, and tell her what you'd tell her if this was the last time that you knew that you were going to see her. Going on a deeper level like that. But that really tells that'll tell you, as the person looking for the wedding photographer, if you're going to feel comfortable in front of that person. If that sounds like, if they're just kind of telling me like what to do and doing some more action steps rather than just like standing there and what do I do with my hands kind of a thing, that can be really, really telling on how somebody works with someone who's never been in front of the camera before. Next question. These aren't totally in order. This is just like my 9 favorites, so you can pepper them in however you want to, would be the turnaround time for the photos, and making sure that that same turnaround time is listed in the contract that they give you if you choose to move forward with that person. So for us, if you're, from the day that your session takes place, your photos will be ready for viewing in 2 weeks. I will say that's a pretty fast turnaround time. We've perfected our systems to make that happen. If you're excited to see them, we want to get them in your hands. But just asking them simply what that turnaround time is. I would say that a common turnaround time is probably, like a month to 3 months, something like that. But just making sure that that's clearly laid out for you. And also, once you know that time, maybe mark it on your calendar, just so that you're not, sitting there like, oh, it's a month after our wedding, where are our wedding photos? Just knowing whatever time frame the photographer gave you, just give them that time frame. And then if you haven't heard anything, like nothing from them, and that time comes and goes, then I would definitely reach out to them. But knowing what that turnaround time is and what to expect in that turnaround time. Will it be fully edited photos that you're receiving, which for us in 2 weeks, they are fully edited photos we're delivering? Will it just be the culled down gallery, and then from there you choose the images, that kind of thing? And along with that is, do you have a set number of images that you deliver, and are printing rights included? This one can be a little bit touchy in the photo world. I have a different philosophy than some other people do. For us, we do include the printing rights, just because simply our mindset is that the reason that you hire us is we're taking that picture, and that is the service and product that you're going to get and that we're going to deliver to you. So we do include printing rights and the images so that you don't have to purchase the images additionally. Again, simply my process. There are other photographers that do it in different ways. You pay for images or a gallery, or that kind of thing. So no right or wrong answer. This is just the way that we do this. So we include the printing rights, and then we actually also have a product credit included. So what that means, and this is kind of a follow-up, is another question to ask would be, do you offer professional products? This would be especially great to ask somebody, I guess, whether they do or don't include printing rights. Especially if they don't include printing rights, you want to be able to have some sort of option from them that allows you to have some way to view your wedding photos in a tangible manner, whether that's an album, a piece of wall art, that kind of thing. So for us, we include printing rights as well as a product credit included in the wedding contract. And what that means is, again, you're able to do what you'd like with the photos until the end of time, barring like entering them in contests and things like that. And then we also have a full product lineup that we offer through our professional printer that actually only works with photographers. So we have wall art, photo prints, albums, a whole gamut of awesome products for you guys to have access to. So just asking them what their system is. Are they set up with a printer? Do they have access to them? Or are they just kind of setting it to Walmart down the street and then turning them around to you? So asking, do you have printing rights included? And do you offer professional products? Another question that I would recommend asking is, how many photographers do you think our day will require? I have a frog in my throat, 1 second. Oh, 'tis the season, I tell you. So how many photographers do you think our day will require? Our packages start with 2 photographers included. However, I don't think that's a full necessity for every single wedding. Some weddings are simply more intimate, or the way that we're structuring their photo coverage, it's just not needed. There's one photographer that can absolutely take care of that whole time, and I'm comfortable on my end knowing that I can deliver what I need to with just one photographer. And then it's also not like over-diagnosing what we think that you need for your wedding day. There are some weddings where I absolutely know that I'm going to need a second photographer to execute this in a way that is going to keep you relaxed, structure your timeline in the way that's most important to you, beyond whatever we think. We structure the timeline, wedding day timeline, around what is most important to you, and then we're just there to document it. So there are days that I know, yes, we're absolutely going to need a second photographer to make this happen. Sometimes you just need one. Sometimes if it's a very large wedding, or there's just a lot of moving pieces, or maybe you want a couple's photo station set up at the reception, and then you also want somebody taking large family photos, and then you also want somebody capturing the speeches and that kind of thing, you might need 3 photographers. So just asking how many are required. Typically, the sweet spot is 2. That is our most consistent. We've had 3 photographers just a handful of times over the past 10 years. And then sometimes we do 1. So again, it all depends. Just simply ask them, how many do you think our day would need, or how many do you include in a package? Next question would be, what general recommendations do you have for our day? Hopefully by this point you've shared with this potential photographer that you're interviewing what your day might look like, how you want it to go, the places that you're going to be, and just any general recommendations that they see for you. When I'm chatting with a client and a couple, I'm hearing what time their ceremony and reception start at, how far, that's not the word I'm looking for, how long it takes to get to each location, if it's all in one place, if there's travel that we need to do, when sunset is, that kind of a thing, because that can greatly affect if we do all of your photos before the ceremony, if you're open to a first look and that kind of thing. Maybe we just do your bridal party photos with you guys separately so you don't see each other ahead of time, so that we can really take advantage of that time in between the ceremony and reception. Maybe we're doing a lot of photos during the reception, that kind of thing. Any general recommendations that could come to mind, just simply ask them what they see for you and what they would recommend to you. Get some of that free advice, even if you aren't necessarily going to work with them. Photographers see things in so many different ways, so having multiple opinions on that might not be a bad thing. And then the last question that I would recommend that you ask is, do you have a preferred vendor list? And the reason that I think this is so important is like I said, we've been in business for 10 years now. We have worked with a lot of wedding vendors, and we know who delivers an amazing experience that we want to shout it from the rooftops, and we're comfortable recommending them to our clients because we know that they're going to take care of them on the level or even higher than we take care of our clients. That is so important to me and my team, because our philosophy is that it's not just individual, players of the game that are coming together with your photographer and your DJ and your catering. We're not just like all showing up as individuals. This is a team effort, and the team's goal, the game that we are trying to win, is you having the best wedding day ever, and whatever is going to keep you relaxed, keep you embodied in those feelings that you want to feel, and having us execute to our fullest potential your dream wedding day and what you've shared with us. So the reason that I think that preferred vendor list is so important to ask them is that lets you know who they like working with, who they get along with, who they really, really communicate with, and who they trust enough to share with their wedding clients. Because chances are they're not going to have somebody on that list that does, excuse my language, a half-assed job and isn't going to take care of you. They're going to want to have someone in that list that feels the same way about them. For us, our preferred vendor list, there is no exchange of money that's taking place. And that might be, maybe a question to ask too is, do people pay to be on your vendor list? Or is this simply somebody that you are giving a natural, organic, genuine recommendation from? So everyone that is on our preferred vendor list, we have vetted them, we have worked with them, we know that they do a great job, and we 100% back them in the experience that they're giving, and that's why they're there. So that can also help make your wedding planning process a lot easier, because there are just so many wedding vendors out there. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. The wedding industry is one of the most profitable industries in the world, frankly. I mean, it is what it is, and you should know that and just be aware of that going into your wedding planning process. But there are so many vendors out there that being able to just narrow that search range a little bit more and having some genuine recommendations, that can make your life a whole lot easier. It's kind of a one-stop shop then too. Okay, so to recap, the 9 questions to ask potential wedding photographers would be, what is it like working with you, and how are you going to enhance our experience? 2, is an engagement session included? 3, what tips do you have for people who have never been in front of the camera before, if you haven't done that before? 4, what is the turnaround time for our photos? 5, are printing rights included? 6, do you offer professional products? 7, how many photographers would you recommend for our wedding day? 8, what are any general recommendations you would have for our day? And 9, do you have a preferred vendor list? I think that there are so many other important questions to ask a wedding photographer, but oftentimes when they're chatting with you, if they are very experienced and frankly, if they know what they're doing, they're going to be sharing that information with you anyway, and that'll be answered a lot along the way. All right, guys, if you have any other thoughts, questions, ideas on, should I ask this? Should I ask this? What do you think? Is this important to know? Feel free to drop a comment, send me a message. My direct email is kate@clemstudios.com. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have, even if we don't work together. I know that wedding planning can be a confusing world that we are trying to navigate. I'm a bride myself, so I definitely know what you're going through. Please feel free, use me as a resource, and I am happy to connect with you. Okay, I hope to see you guys soon. I will talk to you later, and have a wonderful day. Bye.